Welcome to the Black Script Storytellers. My name is Kevin Marable, and today we have some very talented guests in the building, the cast of the film Operation Dark Waters. Thank you all for joining. How is everyone doing today? Good. All right. We're going to go ahead and get started. We're going to go around the room and introduce yourselves and who you are and who you play in the film Operation Dark Waters. First off, we're going to start with Neil.
Hello, everybody. Neil Bentley Fierro, and I had the privilege of playing the villain, El Calle.
All right, and now we have Chris, the first Chris who joined.
Hey guys, I'm Chris Dozel, and I played Eva.
All right, and we're gonna have the other Chris.
What's up, everybody? I am also Chris Dozel, and I play Walter in the film. No, I'm Chris Levine. Sorry, I get that confused all the time. Yeah, thanks for having me.
Absolutely, and Dominique.
How you doing, everybody? This is Dominique Marcel, the lead of Operation Dark Waters. Of course, I play Chuck Sutton.
All right, and last but not least, we have Raul.
Hey, how you doing? I'm the director of Operation Dark Waters. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. If if one of you guys would like to speak, and any of you feel free to chime in at any point, just allow each other to talk. But can you explain what Operation Dark Waters is about?
We'll leave that to our fearless leader, Raul.
Yeah, honestly, initially it was a different topic, and then as we developed the story, it started changing direction into child trafficking, and it's a group of service men and women. Dominique, Chris's, they were in a unit. Oh, sorry, not Chris Dozel, but they were in a Chris Levine and Dominic. They were, two servicemen led by Chris Levine. He was a lieutenant in this group, and this mission was Operation Dark Waters, into breaking down a cartel in Mexico. We haven't established that in the story or because it's a short film, but ultimately that mission was not completed. And therefore, it grew into Los Angeles, and during that time, Dom's character, his family, was disrupted by the cartel in retaliation for that mission, that botched mission.
Right.
And so now, Dom is trying to, he's hiding, not hiding, but he's taking himself out of the world, basically, to recover from this mishap. And finally, he accepts an invitation from Walter to come and hang out and get reacquainted. Mm-hmm. Walter, during this whole time, him and Eva being another person in the military, he takes her under his wing while Dom is displaced from everything. Walter and Eva uncover somewhat of what really happened to his family, to Dom's family, tells him what's going on. And from there, now the mission is to come to finish the mission. And I use Operation Dark Waters, even though when people see it, there's no water in it. It's all about train tracks. Right. It's like the Rio Grande. People cross, my aunts and uncles, my dad, they cross through. They're immigrants. Yeah, I don't know if they went through the river, but that's when people think of Rio Grande, they think of that border and the river and all that. So I was thinking, cartels, smuggling, and from there. So that's where the Operation Dark Waters came from, is crossing through the Rio Grande, and that's how that came about. Does that answer? Am I forgetting anything?
Anybody else?
I'm going to add on to that.
Yes,
I saw it as kind of figuratively meaning that when people are crossing those borders seeking a better life, that's their choice and their agency to do so. And when you're being forced to do so, that's a dirty job that's doing that. It makes the water muddied. So that's
Right.
kind of how I read it as far as the title and what the overall story means. So I don't know. I kind of like to draw that alignment to the title of people's choices and their agency. And then when that agency is taken away, they're dragged through muddy water.
Right. And then to your point, also, Raul, the train and the train tracks was kind of like a another character in the story. And it had that symbolism as to how the trafficking and moving things about. Uh,
Hmm.
that's what I gathered as well. Dominique, you played the lead role. Um, what was it like playing the lead in this film? I felt like everything was believable about your character.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Yeah, Chuck is just a guy that's distraught. Of course, he's in the mission on a greater purpose of saving the children and dismantling the cartel. But of course, something personal happens to him, which kind of takes him out the game, which how it would affect anyone hitting close to home like that. So as he's still recuperating from the loss of his family,
Hmm.
he's slowly getting back to who he is as a person and reaching
Right.
out to the people that are his only remaining family at that point, and that's Walter. So, it just kind of shows in the beginning how he's kind of removed, but and beginning to make those steps to regather contacts, with people that actually care about him, or so he thinks.
Right. And then so you come in and you're met with Chris who plays Walter and the other Chris who plays Eva, and they sit you down, and you guys kind of go over.
Yeah,
Um,
they do give me an offer I can't refuse,
right.
a chance at retribution. So I definitely take that at the first chance to rectify that. And so I definitely align myself with Chuck as a man on a mission, on a personal mission, and he's going to accomplish it at all costs and find out what happened to his
Right.
son.
Right.
So I definitely identify with him, and I can identify with anybody that has such a great purpose like that and take matters into his own hands. So that's definitely what gravitated towards me to this new revised story that Rahul created, and was just pretty much grateful that he allowed me to be a part of it.
Yeah. Um, honestly, I think the film is an amazing film. Even though it was short, it was action packed all the way through. Had a lot of thriller, drama, suspense.
Hopefully, it
Um,
made you want to see more.
it really did, and that's one of my questions. But I actually really enjoyed the action and the fight scenes as well. Because when you're dealing with independent projects, sometimes they may not play out as you might visualize them.
Hmm.
But I felt like these were played out very well. They were believable as well, and it didn't come across as forced or anything like that. It looked real.
I'm
And
sure Raul will appreciate that, and also
yeah,
Paul Pang will appreciate that. We
Yeah.
definitely got there and got dirty with it, literally because we didn't clean up the area at all. We let it be as dirty as it was as we arrived, and so we definitely tried to plan ahead with a couple moves that looked believable,
right.
but with just putting our heads together in the moment, just trying to knock it out and making it just rough and believable as possible that these
Mhm.
two could get into a scuffle real quick. And even with Neil, the scene with Neil, just wanted to make it raw and dirty, even if it showed Chuck maybe catching a lick here too. We just need to make it believable as possible. A fight that some people can say ooh ah to, and then just really just get in the middle of. Um,
Right.
we, it's funny you say that because we did plan for something a lot more elaborate, but what worked in the final cut worked for the final cut, and so that's just how it goes in filmmaking.
Mhm.
And as long as the audience can gravitate towards it, that's the goal we're looking for.
Yeah, for sure, man. Chris Dozal, you play Eva, and you kind of have like a tough exterior. Would you say that's who you are in real life, or is that just your character?
I I mean, I feel like I have a little bit of both. I have a little bit of toughness. You have to be as a woman in this world and industry. But
Hmm.
I'm definitely, I have a soft center.
What did you do to get yourself into character to play that role so well?
Um, I had a great director
Hmm.
uh, and great, a great team, great co-stars. And, once you have somebody that's, you know, top level professional, is everything else is piece of cake. It makes it so easy um, for you to just live that life.
Right.
Yeah,
And
they
it
gave
just
me
like
so
all
much.
falls into it like all falls into line, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Can she tell you a funny story that she disregarded my first contact because she thought it was a spam audition text? You
Yes, please do. I would love to hear it.
Uh,
don't have to, but I thought it was funny. I was like, "What? Okay."
well, because Raul reached out and he had reached out, he texted me. And
Mm,
usually, for auditions, people email or they send you like an email request through the actual platform. But he had
mhm.
texted me, which I thought was weird because it's not the, norm, it's not the standard, the industry standard. So I just ignored it. I completely ignored it. And I was like, no, I don't know what this is, but I'm just gonna not reply.
Did you not
Yeah.
lead with "Hey, this is Raul. I would like to,
No, no, no. It was a professional text, but it was just the fact that because also I'm like, where did he get my number? Obviously, my number is on the on my account or whatever. But because I've never been contacted by text before,
right."
um, I didn't think that they would give your information out that easily to
It
anybody.
was funny though, because I think that day I was in a place where I didn't have great service. But I know if you're trying to send a text out, it'll try to send it out when it has like a connection somewhere.
Hmm.
Uh, and so I pushed send. I was like, and I wanted to cast it. I wanted her, so I was like, okay. And I think I waited a couple days, maybe a week. I don't
Okay.
remember. And I was like, hey. So then I think I called you the next time. I was like, hey, this is Raul. I sent you a message like 2 months ago. No, just kidding. But no, but no, it worked out. It was just funny. It was just a little funny fun fact. Sorry, I just wanted to bring that up. Just
No, no, that's cool. And, I kind of failed to ask. Did you guys know each other prior to filming this project?
No, actually. So I met Neil and Chris Dolzel from the casting site, and then Chris and Dom have. I've worked with Chris Levine on two other projects,
Hmm.
and then Dominique on my last project. So just the what they brought in both of those projects, Chris, all three. Um, it was just a no brainer that I had this story, and it's like they're they're going to be it. And then I met Neil and Chris Dozel through the casting site.
Okay, and the casting site is that Actors Access, or is
No,
that
this was Casting Frontier.
Casting Frontier? Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I'm unfamiliar with Casting Frontier. I've never heard of that one, so I'll
Hmm.
make note of that.
Yeah, it's free. You get to watch auditions and use the filters. It's it's worked out for me for sure.
That's actually a good question because I'm sure, as you guys know, casting sites are kind of under fire this week. So that's good to know.
Oh,
I
are
didn't
they?
know about Casting Frontier myself.
Okay. Do you care to share real quick? How
I
are
didn't
the
know about
casting
that.
sites under
Well, I
fire?
believe SAG pretty much put out a scathing letter to all the casting sites saying that, hey, actors should be able to submit for roles for free without having to pay. So it's kind of putting all these casting sites on notice, like, why are you charging actors to be able to audition for these roles? So to hear Raul say that about Casting Frontier, that it was free, that it's actually kind of good to hear because that's probably one
Yeah,
of the small dogs that I'm not aware of, and it looks like the company that owns casting networks owns like 10 other casting sites, so it's like a little
yeah,
monopoly
of
going on.
course.
So it's
Well,
a
it's
very relevant question right now.
Yeah, it was free for me because I would be considered the casting director or producer on the other side. I don't know if it is like that for free for the cast, the actors. So I don't know that side of it because I know when you sign up, it asks you, are you a director or casting director or an actor?
Right.
I don't know, but that's crazy.
Yeah, that's good to know. And sorry, I kind of sidestepped there a little bit, but
All right.
I think that was interesting to ask because I had no clue. But you did inform me on something because I'm just now getting into the casting realm for the Black Script, and I had my first casting, and I was charging because that's what the other casting sites were doing.
Oh.
But now that I know that,
Yeah, if SAG
I
is
have
the big dog.
I'm no, but because part of what I'm doing is to make it more accessible and easy for, especially for people of color and underrepresented groups, to get into this business. I was just trying to match what I saw was already out there and available. But I want to be the change that I want to see, so I'm going to make that change just because. Um, and that's just me. But yes, again, sorry about sidestepping there, but
No, you're good. You're good.
Chris Levine, you play Walter as your character. I took Walter as like very dramatic, very serious in his role, and you also have even though now you're smiling, you seem super friendly and everything. You seem very like serious and intense on camera. Um, is that who you are as a person, or are you more so the smiling guy I see right now?
I'm Walter through and through, man.
Yeah.
No, no, not at all. It's easy for me to get to that kind of intensity and that seriousness. It's kind of like my go-to over the years. So yeah, and just working with Raul multiple times and his team, I knew it was going to look and sound professional, and
Hmm.
like especially with a short film, right? Like you have to worry about that a little bit on how it's going to turn out.
Right.
But with them, I never have a doubt, and working with everybody here was cool. And can we just say, look at Chris's hair today? Put in some effort into that.
There you go. Nice.
Gotta look out for the Chris's. But yeah, that's not really me. I mean, I'm silly and I think so, and pretty lighthearted. Yeah,
That's cool. I mean, because I'm seeing a different side of you, and what all I knew of you was what I saw on film,
yeah.
and so to hear, hear you now opposed to on film, I'm like, okay, wow, he was really in his bag in that character, and
Yeah.
you took it seriously and did a great job at it as well.
Oh,
I
thank
would
you,
say.
thank you.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
And then Neil, you play El Kaye, right? Am I pronouncing it right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You are one of the antagonist, so to speak. Um, what was it like playing that role and kind of getting to be a villain?
Well, what a privilege. It was so much fun. Uh, El Kaye, the character, I love mafia, bad guys. Oh, I,
Right.
I love that stuff. That's what I grew up watching. So it was very natural. Uh, the real me, no, the opposite. I'm totally loving party, fun kind of guy. But if I
Yeah.
was to be a gangster or the head cartel, oh yeah, ruthless, cutthroat, no emotions, business as usual. If it's not working, that's it. You're out. But I had a lot of fun. I got a call from Raul, and he just said, "Hey, you interested? This is a character, and I could see you have that look for that and this." I'm like, and then we just started talking. Oh my God, this gangster movie, that, yes, yes, yes. And
Mhm.
like we connected right away with all the gangster films we were watching, and I was like,
Yeah.
yes, I can do it. I know what you're looking for. And I had fun on there, and Dominique and we had that fun fight. That was so much fun. It was very natural. It happened. It worked out
Yeah.
well. But let me just say, this whole project, this whole film, it was very natural how things came together. And one thing is, Operation Dark Waters may be a fictional movie,
Hmm.
but I think there's a lot of stuff going on out there that we could say might be very close.
Yes.
So,
It's
yeah,
it's
very
it's a
great to be
very
part of this.
serious. Yeah, it's very serious subject for sure. And it's coming at a prominent time when, you know, there's a lot of things going on with
Yeah.
human and child trafficking. And so, yeah, we definitely have to have our eyes and ears open, you know, just in the real world. But it's also good to have films and stories that portray this and actually put more exposure and shed more light on
Yeah.
these type of topics, because a lot of times the news and the media don't really cover it. You hear about it. There's a lot of rumblings, you know, on the internet and people talking amongst themselves, so on and so forth. But you really don't see any efforts in place, at least publicly,
Yeah.
where they're, you know, they're trying to put a stop to this. So
And I like to speak to that, what you
yeah,
said just briefly about efforts. It's like we know we're presenting something that's ultimately going to be consumed as a piece of entertainment, but hopefully, even with it being a piece of entertainment with the character Chuck Sutton, you know, most people just wouldn't involve themselves, even if they did see evidence of something like that going down. But this man's
right,
when his determination, hopefully that will inspire somebody. Hey, if you see something, do something. Just like maybe Chuck did something, you know. So hopefully that it'll inspire somebody to at least that bit, to at least make a phone call, say you saw something, or actually physically get involved. You know what I mean? Because we need people to step up and get involved and help. I'm not saying that my instincts would be rushing to get in there and put myself into danger as well, but you know, I hope that this story does inspire people who do have that resolve within them to do so.
absolutely. And if you don't want to get involved physically, you can at least say something, report it to somebody if you know something. You know, there's sites out there, there's phone numbers. You know, I'm sure there's a way that you can help. So let me ask you guys this, or this might be a Raul question, and I think you might have touched on it a little bit. But how did the story come about initially? What was your mindset when you began to formulate this story?
Um, man. Uh, um, so it started. Shoot, the original. It was always about a veteran,
Okay.
a serviceman, and in that area, and then man, I forget. Dominic actually helped a little too, mold it too. But it
Well, you
originally,
mentioned that there was someone in your life that you inspired Chuck to
oh,
be.
Chuck, yes, yes, yes. Okay, so yes, okay, so the inspiration of Chuck, there's a guy, a gentleman that lived up the street from me in Corona, California, where I grew up. Um, and me and my buddies, we would be up till like 5 in the morning having a good time.
Mhm.
And then, but he lived right across the street from where our garage was, where we were always hanging out. But he would be up pumping, and just this guy was like 6'5", all muscle, and he's always, kindest guy in the world and always encouraging.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Hey, you guys got to put that beer down and come on, pick up them weights. Let's go." And always encouraging though, and and I try to, when it comes to like writing stuff, people that make a impact in my life, I try to use their names as
Right.
in these things. And Chuck was one of them.
Uh-huh.
And I found out that he had passed away a couple years ago of ALS.
Yeah.
Um,
Wow.
and and I was floored because I haven't been back home, and I mean I don't live there to keep up every day on what's going on. But when I found that out, I was like, oh my gosh. And then, but I think he was also military. He had that mindset every morning. He was up at like 3 to 4, just
Mhm.
doing different things, as far as working out goes. And huge on family. Would always take his daughter on his shoulders, riding his bike around. And hey, it was just So when I wrote when the idea of Operation Dark Waters came about, it was about a family man who was very dedicated to his family, civilians around him, whether he knew him or not, and his country.
Mhm.
And and making a difference in a positive impact.
Wow.
And so that kind of those things that I knew about Chuck um, in real life, I put into Chuck Sutton on screen.
Wow. That's pretty dope, man. And
Yeah.
then so once you came up with Chuck's character, and then obviously you base the whole story around him and his family, um, and you take pieces of who he is as a person and who he is as a family man from your friend. Um, where did the child trafficking part come in, as a basis for the storyline as to what the mission was going to be?
Okay, so the initial concept for the storyline, it was not about um, child trafficking. It
Okay.
was it was about man, Dom. You help mold it a little bit. Was
Yeah,
it
that original story. We kind of went back and forth with the original story, and there was just, of course, if us coming up with this story just out of the blue, out of the scratch, there's a little heads button here and there about which direction, but we ultimately came to an agreement with this story here because I know Raul wanted to honor Chuck in real life, the gentleman Chuck that he knew. And so
Right.
I think the relevant news is how it may have just came on a whim, but it's just the relevant news of what's going on in today's climate helped us push towards that. Where we could, I think that the rules of filmmaking is when you want to go ahead and get out there, you kind of have to agree upon what you're able to accomplish with as little resources as possible, but still give the same production value as something bigger. And we knew we had those ideas in place, and we just had to incorporate a story without leaning too heavily and trying to exploit that story, but trying
Mhm.
to give somewhat of an idea that we can give some kind of resolve to an incident that may occur within this type of framing that we were presenting up. So it was loosely based, but we start to insert little pieces here and there with a team, and
Mhm.
then a purpose, and then a little bit of motivation from what happened to Chuck in his past. We were able to then corral the whole story to come together. Um, but yeah, that's just a testament of being creative, of how you may have to pivot away from what your original idea is and to introduce something new, and all of us
Mhm.
still agree and push forward. We had 4 months to just sit on our butts and not do anything or do something, and we chose to do something at the 11th hour. And I think we're all proud of what we did uh, finally come up with.
yeah,
Yeah.
and I think Um, I know there was some research, a little bit of research into it, like on the broad scale, because I know in the trailer, or actually in the beginning too, Dom has like the PSA, the statistics of
Right.
trafficking, and some a statistic that make it, some just a number that doesn't, and you know so that stuff, it's going into that direction. I think maybe I want to say it was God driven, just kind of like, just this,
Yeah.
this, there's not, like you said in the beginning, on the top of this, there's not a lot of stories like that. I mean,
Right.
Sound of Freedom was probably the biggest one. I
Mhm.
can't think of another blockbuster or another major title that's recent, that's similar to this. So I think, once we started going into that direction, it was like, it was kind of like okay, this is it. You know what I mean? And then having the ending of it, and like, and it's tough to write stuff like this. That's it's a yes, this is a fictional story, but yes, behind the scenes there may be some stuff that's true in nature to this.
Yes.
Um, and it was like, okay, so how, what's it's hard to say how can we pull more drama from it,
Mhm.
to wake the audience up, like, yes, you're watching it on screen, but we want to tell you that this could be happening. You know what I mean? So once we realize, man, this is really, really heavy,
Mhm.
we decided, yes, this is the way it's going to go. Um,
Yeah. yeah, and that's really the reason why I wanted to know, how you came up with the storyline, because again, it didn't, everything to me in this seemed very natural, and it seemed believable. It wasn't like a forced story. Sometimes, when you're watching a movie, the acting can be good, the cinematography can be great, but the story itself, you're like, come on, that wouldn't happen in real life.
Yeah,
These things wouldn't happen. But the way you guys wrote it, the way it was written, and the way you guys acted and portrayed it out, to me, it really gave authenticity to it. And
Appreciate it.
that's why I was asking, because um, again, there's not a lot of films that spotlight this, or highlight what's happening um, in in this particular for this particular topic. Um, so yeah, I just wanted to kind of get, where did that come from, and I'm glad that you are touching on it, because it is an important
I
story
would
to.
even say that the public doesn't want to believe that it's actually happening right now, especially within our borders.
Yeah.
So it's kind of important to present that it is happening within our borders without, like I said,
Hmm.
exploiting the notion that it is too much. The story having more of an impact to Chuck's personal life because of what happened to his son, I think
Hmm.
maybe cushions it a little bit, but people just need to be aware and they just need to know that just because you're within the borders of the United States, that these kind of things don't happen. Um,
Right.
and
Right.
yeah, I think that's part of why we showcase the way it is, and just how important it is just to be aware and to know and not to dismiss it as something that happens elsewhere.
Right. Right. Um, now, sticking on we're going to move from writing, but kind of go into creating the film. How much time did it take for you guys to actually film this project?
I think it was a total of 4 days. So we had three back to back, and then we waited a week and then shot some additional photography or some pickups, and some ADR. So four shooting days and then one ADR day. So like I think maybe within like a week and a half from shooting to end of principal,
Mhm.
everything production. Yeah.
Oh, man, that is amazing, man. Let me ask the rest of the cast, the rest of you guys, feel free to chime in. Um, if you could, can you speak on a part of the experience of actually putting this project together? Whether it be, going over a certain scene, or just, the camaraderie between all of you guys, your interaction, the chemistry. What was something that was special about putting this project together?
Well, for me, I was really surprised at the a quality of everybody, because sometimes with short films, or student projects, sometimes you'll get one guy with his camcorder doing everything. But God, everybody was just so good. The
Yeah.
DP, both of the guys that we had, God, everybody was just, they work on professional shoots. So
Mhm.
everybody's a working professional. So I was very pleasantly surprised. Also with the actors. It was just, there was such professionalism, and everybody was always willing to give it their all.
Mhm.
No complaining. We were all there for the love of the art, to have the best thing come forth.
Mhm.
So it was a great experience.
Absolutely. Chris, what about you?
Well, um, Raul hit me up, and when Dom was attached, I've been wanting to work with Dom ever since our last film. So I was like, I'm in. And when I read the script, I was like, damn, this Walter guy just feels he's like older than me, right? Like, I'm not saying I'm some young chicken or whatever, right? But it just, to me, originally it read like, I don't know, someone maybe in their 50s or 60s. And I even said to Ro, I was like, listen, man, like, and as I'm working with the script with Dom and them, I was like, listen, I totally understand if you guys want to go older for this in any way. And they were like, what are you talking about, bro? Like, this is for you, So I always, as an actor, I appreciate that level of confidence coming into any new role.
Right.
And yeah, us working on the script and like just sharpening it as much as possible. I think it ultimately made it to the screen as good as it's going to get. And that's a really high level that we succeeded at. It's funny because when I'm kind of the exposition part in the opening is me telling Dom's character like this, that, and the other. I mean, we have so many names in this thing. I mean, even after I said it all, I was like, wait, who's El Kaye? Who's Estevez? Like, who's doing what? Where's Jimmy Wayne? So watching the movie for the first time, I was like, oh shit, that's what all that meant. So my bad for not actually, knowing exactly who I was talking about, but it all worked out. So
Yeah, it did. It really
yeah.
did. Neil, go ahead and speak your piece, man.
Hey, I'm just happy to be attached to this. I always love gangster, traffic. This movie reminds me of, and you could tell anybody, if you love like Sicario, like those movies, this is pretty much the miniature version of that. And I would say for the ensemble cast we have here, Role's direction, everything worked out with a simple budget to look much bigger than what it is. And so again, when anyone watches this film, you're definitely going to be satisfied, entertained. The story with the mystery, but again, I'm really grateful to be part of this, and I just had so much fun playing the character. If you say, "Hey, play the bad guy, be the ruthless," I'm in. I'm in. So I had fun. We had chemistry, Dominique and myself, and it all worked. It just came together very natural, very easy. So again, just a great pleasure to work with everyone here and be part of this.
To tack on what Neil was saying, with the project being bigger than what it seems, I think that has to do with absolutely Raul's vision and the
Yep.
locations that he chose. The 6th Street Bridge specifically makes this film so much bigger than it is. It gives us that scope. And honestly, I like to think this is the first film that featured the brand new 6th Street Bridge. So any film that comes out after this is copying us. I'm sorry, but we featured that bridge and that spiral staircase first. So Operation Dark Waters all day.
Yeah, that's dope, man. That is dope, especially to capture it in your film and be a part of that. Where you're actually incorporating it into your storyline and into the location of where some of these things happen. But also to everybody's point, the again, the story itself very strong. You guys all did an excellent job. It flows. There's no choppiness. I'm like, okay, well, what happened with this part of the story? It goes all the way through. I feel like it's pretty fluid, and that goes back to the writing, and putting this together to where it makes sense, especially for a short film, and to kind of crunch all of that into a certain amount of time, where you can really expand it, and I can see where it can be expanded as well. But to even just to be able to showcase the capability of what you're able to put out there, and then also Raul, to I think you're the editor. Are you the editor as well? Yeah, the editing, the cinematography, the editing, is very crisp. It looks like a polished feature film, or even like a high end 1 hour TV series type of show. Where like a drama.
Yeah,
It gives me that feel. I don't know how long you've been doing this, but yeah, you definitely, you and your team definitely did a great job on this project.
I appreciate that. Yeah, the editing. Just a little backstory, real quick. So I like my inspiration comes from Tony Scott, my favorite director. Man on Fire is the movie that got me interested behind the camera. I like the action. I love Denzel Washington. If you ever see this, Denzel, I want to work with you in some capacity.
Yeah.
I'll get your coffee. I don't care, whatever it is. But the fast pace of it, the overlapping of the images, the high contrast.
Yeah.
I think all that also tells the intensity of moments in a movie, in a scene. So yeah, stuff like that. That's my inspiration. So I'm like, you know what? If I don't ever direct again, and this is going to be my last project, I'm going to do it the way I want to do it, without making it look, overboard or anything like that. So just the overlapping of the images that you saw in there, the fast pace, and uh, that was all Tony Scott's. That's the inspiration. So I hope I
Yeah.
did him justice. I hope he's looking down, being like, cool.
You definitely did them justice, but you gave it your own take, your own spin.
Yeah, yeah,
Make sure you give yourself kudos as well, because it's not easy to do. And there's a lot of filmmakers out there who there's a lot of good people out there, and I feel like your project can stand alongside some of the best of them.
appreciate that.
Now, as far as, and this, I don't know if you're okay with answering this question, but I try to ask directors, especially on the independent side, when it comes to financing and budget for the project. Not everybody is open to speaking of how they come about financing a film like this.
Mhm.
Are you open to speaking?
Yeah, I think it's encouraging.
Yeah,
We did this for, I think under $1,500. I think most of the money went to food.
really,
Uh, it was all food, and then it was props for the weapons, and then we purchased some like special effects stuff for
yeah,
like blood. Um, and then that was it. Everybody else worked for free. Sorry, guys. I don't know. Sorry, Neil. Sorry, Chris. And but yeah, it was. The thing is, like Chris Dolzel said, I don't want to boast or anything like that. It's not what why I'm saying this, but I work with some people in the industry. I'm in the camera department in the union. So what we
okay,
do on our downtime, especially during the strike, everybody has their own gear, and it's a chance for people to upgrade, to polish their skills in, like, someone who's a second AC. They're like, hey, I want to pull focus. Let me jump up to the first AC. It's like, here you go. Here's a project. This is a perfect project for people to step up, in their desired positions. So that allowed me to be like, hey, I got something. If you guys, here's a script. If you're interested, I can't pay, but I can give you food. I'll make sure we don't work over 10 hours a day, um, which I don't know if that happened. I think maybe one day we went over 12. Sorry. But yeah, so the budget was all food, basically. It was maybe, I think it was like food. Yeah.
that is amazing, man. Most people I talk to, there, it's in the tens of thousands.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, you guys did really well for $1,500. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, I know, and kudos to everybody, all the actors, and also the crew involved, everybody who was willing to pitch in and make this project happen. Even though you're spending your time, which I feel like in some cases is more valuable than money,
Absolutely.
but this speaks to the level of skill that was put in place for $1,500. That is amazing.
Yeah, I appreciate every single one of them. It's the same crew that works with me for just the past two projects, and
Wow.
I appreciate their trust in my vision. Same with the cast. It's tough asking people to work for free or work for food. I hate that, but they're good friends. Everyone's a good friend to me on this thing, and it came out great. So I appreciate everybody.
Yeah. And then sometimes when you work on a project like this and you see the outcome, and then now you can actually shop it to film festivals and put it amongst the circuit and see how it does. It also gives you an opportunity to be seen and heard a lot more than otherwise of just being at home and not doing anything,
Yeah.
especially in particular during the strikes. But yeah, so this gives you an opportunity to gain more exposure, to gain more practice in front of the camera, and actually be able to showcase your chops, where otherwise you have to audition for it, and if you don't get the role, you never get to showcase what it is that you want to do. um, so we touched on it a little earlier, um, and I'm sure that maybe somewhere along down the line, especially if things take off for you guys, you would be interested in making this like a feature length film or turning it into a longer story.
Yeah, I think what we shot here has the ability to be the climax.
Mhm.
So I would want to go in and show the relationship between Walter, uh, Dom, his wife. The growing up. I want to show the deep the deep love there, and then afterwards, now that Eva's involved, because she in my mind, she obviously comes in after Dom is going through all this, you
Right.
know. So she would definitely, at the end there's a cliffhanger. You saw, there's another mission,
Yes.
and so now it's those groups. So I think I think definitely there would be there is stuff there for a feature, a full length. Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
And can I say, right before we had this interview, I was looking online and I saw a blurb about, Sundance just ended, and there's a film that just got picked up for $17 million from Sundance. Um, and when you guys have projects like this, and I like the fact that you had that cliffhanger at the end, because it also helps sell your project, so to speak,
Yeah,
and it allows some of these studios and production houses to have a vested interest in, we could potentially make something work with this project. Even though it's a short film, it's also a proof of work, a proof of concept, to a much bigger story. um, and you guys can definitely pursue that avenue as well. But when I saw that story, it piqued my interest. And with you saying exactly what you were saying, with the cliffhanger at the end, it kind of pieced those two things together in my mind. So
yeah,
I think that's something that uh, indie filmmakers, up and coming filmmakers, should definitely try to do moving forward, is try to find something within your project to where it's a selling point, because you never know who's watching.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, no, I think it was a cool little cliffhanger. But yeah, I like to, for sure. It's like you said, it's cool to, have something at the end and be like, I want more.
Right.
So that was pretty cool.
I don't
Yeah.
think it was very cool, by the way.
And
Why not?
there's the real Chris Levine.
There
Right.
you go.
Why not, Chris?
I don't like the way Walter went out. You know what I mean?
Oh,
No,
I know. He was
no,
busting.
the ending is really cool. It's really cool. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So let me ask, and this is for everybody. And if you want, I can go around the room and mention you got your names again. But what's next for each of you? And I'll start with you, Raul. And then I'll go around.
Um, well, honestly, just waiting to jump on a show. It's still pretty dead out there. I mean, that's where my day job is. It's Monday through Friday on a show, but still slow. I think people are scared of the next strike in July. I think IATSE is saying we're going to put our foot down and stuff like that. So
Oh
I
wow.
think people are afraid that we might do it again, another strike. So there's not much production. But that's what I'm waiting for. In the moment while I'm here, I don't know. Just submitting to festivals and seeing where we can, what are trying to get this out there as best possible. I'm trying to work on getting this on Amazon or Tubi. Those platforms. that's what I'm trying to do while we're in the festival circuit. So
Absolutely. Yeah.
mhm.
Neil, what about you, man?
I think timing is everything, and getting this film done, and now it's in the festival season. There's more festivals to come. I myself am always at red carpets, events. I'm a very active guy, so every time I'm any place, I'm always pitching something. Hey, this is, or get on the red carpet. And so, what better time for
Yeah.
Operation Dark Waters? There's more festivals. I think this has great potential to open doors for all of us in some direction. It's a positive direction, that's for sure. And I'm just
Yeah.
glad to be part of this project. As for future stuff, right now I have a few auditions I sent in. I got some calls. Maybe something in Asia. Let's see if it goes through. I'd love to do that. But
Yeah.
as of now, just hey, I'm a working actor, and hey, anything else with Raul, I'm game. I'm ready. I love everybody here, and I'm excited for it.
Dope, man.
Yeah.
Dope. Crystal's off.
Well, I'm actually in the process of shooting an independent series. We're filming the first season currently in the hopes of selling it. So it's a lot of fun. I'm the lead, and it's like a murder mystery type thing. And then I also do some writing as well. So this year I want to go ahead and produce my own short because I love writing, and I want to also showcase my writing and myself.
I love that. I love that. Chris, I forgot. I'm sorry. I'm missing your last
Levine.
name.
Oh, Levine.
Chris
I
Levine.
didn't write it, so that's my
Chris
fault.
Levine. I'm sorry about that.
If you guys can excuse me just for 1 second, but go ahead. I just
Oh,
have to
come
step
on, man. I was just about to talk. No, what do I got? I finished a Christmas feature end of last year, so I'm shopping that now. Thank you guys. And we'll be going. We just signed a distribution deal for it, and we'll be taking it to Cannes, so that'd be fun in May. And I mean, I'm constantly writing, trying to produce, trying to find investors. Like that's like the day job. You know what I mean? And there's
Yeah.
two needles. Oh.
There we go.
Yeah. That was
um,
strange.
There.
yeah. But yeah, so just always staying on the grind and pushing the Christmas film and going from there.
Awesome, man. That's dope. And Dominique.
Yeah, pretty much. It's funny. We just had the festival
Uh-oh.
premiere of Operation Dark Waters on Saturday, and I was rushing to get back in town as I was coming back in town from shooting something in Northern California called The Transformation Journey, Troy's Story. It's a story in regards to a beloved individual who was kind of a pillar to the community. He's no longer with us, but um, it's his story of how he helped the former patients of Sierra Wellness Centers, who was a company outfit that's set up to help retired veterans of the U.S. military and helping them get readjusted back to common life. So
Mhm.
it was a great opportunity to play someone who was near and dear to that company and to the community of Oroville, California. So just got back finished shooting that, and beyond that, hopefully in the next bit we'll hear news about The 4 Points, directed by Raul Perez, which is our feature that we shot not too long ago, that we're ready to present to the world.
Okay, so the 4 points is not out yet. I saw that you have it like tagged on I think the production studio page, but I thought that was an older project.
Oh, I mean, it was an older project, but we just negotiations and reaching out to distributors. It's a numbers game, and it's a give and take. Let's try to make everyone happy. So they got our last offer, or not offer, but our last kind of demands. So we're just waiting to hear back, and we're hoping and praying for like a summer release. It, you
Okay.
know, I don't. They have a lot of it's. I don't know if I'm allowed to say the distribution company, but they have they have a lot of they have some decent titles under their belt, so it'll
Well,
be streaming, nothing theatrical, but yeah.
okay, yeah, we'll wait. I'll wait until wait to hear the big news once it happens,
Yeah, and
and
then we'll do this all over again.
right, right, yeah,
Yeah.
for sure, man. Well, that's pretty much all that I had for you guys. I do like to give everybody at the end of every interview, I like to give a final word where you can give a piece of advice, words of encouragement, or a quote that you like to live by. If anybody feels up for it, feel free.
My thing this year is just saying yes to more things, more opportunities. Because I mean, if I hadn't had actually replied, I would have missed out, right? All because of some pre-misconceptions of
Yeah, yeah,
how things are supposed to work. But yeah, I mean, you never know what may come of things. Everything is a learning experience. You always gain something from everything that you do, whether it's a teachable lesson or like just something great. I mean, this is already amazing. We're getting into festivals, so it's amazing, and I'm very very grateful.
yes, absolutely. Neil, were you gonna say something?
Yeah, just very simple. One day at a time. That's it. Just one day at a time, and it'll come to place. Just keep going. And so far, that's what it's been. And again, grateful to be here.
Yes, sir. Anybody else care to say something?
Yeah, I'll just add on similar to Neil. I mean, it is one day at a time, and you know pushing through those hills and valleys, and you just got to keep on pushing on. And with this business, as we see, it is changing every single day. So you just have to be malleable and you know mold along with it. And yeah, yeah, keep making movies though. Making movies here. Yeah.
And Chris Levine, any last words?
Um, I think what I've been kind of going by is that there are no small roles um, in filmmaking,
Mm.
and you know, um, I think some people are like, not the lead, I have one line or whatever it is, and I think that's not the right mindset nowadays, because you're part of a collaboration effort, and you should give it your all. No small roles.
Yeah, I love that, man. Well, thank you guys. I appreciate your time. I appreciate your expertise. I really love this conversation talking about Operation Dark Waters. I absolutely liked the project as well. Great film. Um, Try to push it to as many film festivals that you can, because I think it's an important film for everybody to see. And at some point, I hope that it does land on platforms for everybody to watch. And I follow you all on social media, so I will be watching from the sidelines, rooting you on. You'll see me liking your posts here and there. And I'm a big supporter, especially for people of color, Black, Brown, underrepresented groups. That's the reason why I do what I do, and I'm working towards making it to where we have more of a platform, more spotlight, more highlighting. Whether you're in front of the camera, behind the camera, a lot of the things that we do in this industry, because otherwise there is no platform that showcases what it is that we do in this industry. And how else are we going to show the next generation that there is a possible way into this business if we don't have anything to show for it? At the end of the day, you don't want to just be a name that scrolls really quickly across the screen. You also want to be able to show your face and show what it is that you do. So with that being said, uh, cast and crew of Operation Dark Waters, thank you so much.
Thank you for having us. Thank you so much.
Appreciate you
Nice
and
day,
thank you.
guys.